Reconstruction assignment sale contracts. These sellers are being totally delusional. So let's just imagine one thing for 1 second here. Imagine us being in a dark, long tunnel. And at the end of this tunnel, there is light of hope. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but at this end of the tunnel, this light is a train coming to hit you. So let's just talk about it. This is just my opinion. This is what I see out on the streets. This is what I hear from the other people. These are the situations that some of these sellers are going through trying to sell their assignment contracts. So let's get right into it. All right, everyone. So assignment sale. What is an assignment sale to begin with? Okay, so let's go backwards few years. So many buyers went into a pre-construction development office, or they were talking to the realtor and they have purchased a pre-construction condo. Then they give their deposit, and in those contracts, usually one of the big features at that time, selling features in these particular agreements were that these condos can be sold for a small fee to the builder, a few $1,000s or $1,000, depending on the developer and on the builder, to transfer that particular contract and agreement to another buyer, which means that the original purchaser, original buyer, will transfer that agreement, basically a piece of paper, will transfer to their new buyers, which is called an assignment sale. But hold on a second here. Things have changed dramatically. Within the few years, we have had a lot of inventory close, and a lot of these buyers that purchase these pre-construction condos received their keys. Now that inventory got added on top of everything else that's hovering in Toronto GTA specifically. I know that also Vancouver market is the same, and most of the markets in North America. But let's just stick to Toronto GTA market. So now, if we were looking at the data, right, the MLS data, so for all properties, 25%, which means out of 100 listings, 25 of that get either terminated, relisted, price adjusted, etc. So that's a huge number, which means over the course of, let's say, a year, we have been adding new inventory constantly. And yes, I know what you're probably thinking. Look, the interest rates are feathering down and is going in the right direction. Yes, I do agree with you, but in this case, it's not gonna matter much when it comes to these pre-construction and assignment sales. So let's just get into it slowly. So an assignment sale, most of the time, in most agreements, through the developers and through the builders, they will give you that clause that you can assign it for a small fee, as we have mentioned, to another buyer, which those buyers rarely exist. Second point is, they will not allow a broker, a realtor, or anyone else to actually list it on the MLS. So that particular listing or that assignment, that deal has to go exclusively, and that seller has to find a buyer either with the word of mouth or some other marketing channels, which is a big issue. And I'll tell you why. Because the exposure is very, very small. It is hard to find. Second, these sellers in today's market are being delusional. They want top dollar, they want to see profit, and they want to get their money back. I understand you made that initial investment a few years ago because you wanted to see what? Profits. It's all about the profits, right? And security. You want profit, you want security, you want everything else. Fine. But in today's market, That is not a possibility. So all I'm saying to you, just try to recalculate it for yourself. Now, the second, third point here is there's a lot inventory. We can safely say that, unit that you have, unless you have something specifically exclusive, one of a kind, like that has been built, or it has a particular location in our city and it's exclusive, one of a kind, you might have a shot. But everywhere else, like what? You're gonna tell me you have a one-bedroom condo or a one plus den? There are hundred thousands of them, right? So never mind that. Also, there's estimated 40,000 more units to close in 2024, 5, and 6 that are being built. Like all these cranes when you drive the city and you're driving the GTA area, and then you're looking and you're like, oh my gosh, nothing is wrong with the economy. Look at all these cranes. People are moving, people are building. Like buildings are popping like mushrooms left, right, and center. Well, all those deals, 99% of them have been already dealt with. And that's past news. That's historical data that has been sold, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years ago, right? So that doesn't even count. There are no new projects. And those projects that are coming out, there are some builders are gutsy, right? And developers, and usually high ticket brand names that are waiting for these projects to be, to come to light due to zoning and other circumstances. But they say, look, everybody else is defaulting, we want to go ahead with it. So there are some. Yes, it's a big city, like we live amongst 10 million people here. Yes, of course you're going to see some people try to play the market, which doesn't mean that they will start the project. Think about it for a second. They will not start the project. Why? Because if they don't hit a certain threshold and quota in terms of sales, they cannot start digging. Simple as that. But let's move back. So now you're talking with an assignment sale. It is hard to sell because of inventory. You have to market it yourself. And then you have certain clauses that you have to obey for a small fee or high fee, whatever. But then the impact is coming because that train, it's coming slowly. That light is getting bigger now. So when you get to the finish line where you actually have to, take keys or transfer title to you, it means you have to pre-qualify at the bank for a certain number. An appraisal has to hit that number. But what if the appraisal comes in low or lower than expected? You will need to give that extra cash, that difference, to pump up that appraisal. Then you will not have title. You will be a designated owner on that unit, but then you will have to pay, monthly rent until they transfer the title, right? So all of that stuff costs thousands and thousands and up on thousands of dollars. And we're forgetting one huge and major thing that rarely anybody is calculating here. So levies for connections, electrical, plumbing, all of these connections from the city that the builder will put in your contract, and hopefully you pray to God that your lawyer has put some caps in it so that they cannot go bananas on that contract and the agreement. But let's say everything was right, so you have to add on average between $8,000 and $15,000 on top of the price you paid for the unit. Yes, you heard me right. And then depending how you are structuring that transfer. So listen to this for a second. Are you transferring it as an investor, speculator, which, in your eyes is the same thing, but it's totally different, or you're moving into the unit? Because there's a huge difference. If If you're moving into the unit yourself, that means you're exempt from HST, which is 13%. But if you will rent it out, if you will hold it on, whatever you're going to do with it, yes, you will have to pay HST on top of the purchase price. So think about it for a second. You know, if you purchase something for $1 million, it's $130,000 in HST if you're renting it or like if you're not moving in yourself. So, but most people in Toronto GTA were speculators, investors, people that bought these units so they can rent it and they can build their real estate portfolio. So I will leave you with this, and I know that the train is coming, and it's coming very, very fast, especially in a dark tunnel, because the only thing you see, it's that light. Anyways, this was my personal opinion. This is what I kind of can hear it. This is, I'm reading all your comments. I'm trying to put my own picture and I'm trying to frame it into words and post it on YouTube. So I hope you got some value in this particular content, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.